Peace, love, and life, family. Welcome back to Moments with Mila. Thank you so much for taking this moment to spend with Sister Crystal and I, and our special guest who will be coming on soon. Thank you for those who will make time tonight to tune into this live, and also thank you in advance to those who will catch the replay later. Um, as you can see from the topic, the title, basically, masculine women. What role do Black men play? For those of you who saw me share this on my Facebook feed, I said, hey, don't let the title fool you, because we're really going to break this down and get into that. How you doing, Sister Crystal?
I am well. It's the weekend. I got my 2-day pass, so I'm well. And how are you?
I am well. Thankful for that pass as well. I'm telling you, every little break counts. Every little moment to just
Mhm.
stop, it counts. It really does.
Right.
It really does. So tonight, family, we do have a special guest coming on, Brother Omar, or as we call him, Baba Omar Shamsid-Deen. And in actuality, let me just say this. Let me preface it with the fact that we are not discussing, this is not about gender war, right? I'm so sick of the vile gender war talk. That is not what this is about.
There is.
This is truly about just masculinity and femininity. And actually, our good Baba was the one who brought this topic up, which was very interesting to me coming from one of our elders. So we do have him backstage. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in and let him introduce himself. So
These words. Do you hear me?
we hear you. Peace and power.
Peace and power.
Welcome, Baba. How you doing tonight?
Fantastic, thank you. And
Awesome,
and
awesome.
how you wonderful ladies doing?
Very well,
Okay, super.
very well. Sister Crystal has been having some issues with her Wi-Fi too, so I don't know if it's the weather. I have no idea, but it's a lot going on. So I was just, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get more into the topic.
Okay, super. Okay, my name is Omar Shamsid-Deen. I'm just a concerned indigenous ex descendant of ex-slaves here in this country, and have quite a few opinions and concerns, in dealing with our community. Um, I'm just your servant. Simple as that. I don't like all the titles.
That I know. Family, let me tell you, when I asked Baba, I said, how do you want me to write your biography for the show? He said, I'm just your brother. I said, okay, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. So very humble, very wise. So our brother, our Baba is here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just, as I was saying, Baba, I wanted everybody to know this is not a discussion on gender war.
Mhm.
That's just
Fantastic.
not what this is about. We are over that. We are past it. And let me just say this, as a Black woman, I love the Black man. The Black man is my friend. There is no greater man on this planet than the Black man. So I would never be at war with him. I am his teammate. Okay. All right. So I don't want anybody to come on and think that there's going to be any bashing. There isn't. We're going to have a mature adult conversation. Again, feel free to add your input at any point in time. And there will be a segment when I will allow people to come on and ask or questions directly or make comments as well. So just get started, Baba. What was the remember the conversation that we had the other day? Let's
Mhm.
just kind of start there and we'll go from there.
Okay. The reason I had made the statement that I made is because is really to combat the gender wars. Because I think that, in fact, I know that the issues, problems that we have as so-called Black people is we have been starting way back from the time of this supposedly Willie Lynch letter. And the purpose of that particular mindset was to get us to be against one another. you know
Mhm.
and And trust me, if a house divided against itself just can't stand. It's just a simple fact of life, you know. And if we find that we're having problems with one another, then I think it would behoove us to take a look at where the problem started at. You know, uh, according to that particular letter, the strategy that was put in place were designed to be with us for at least 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the mere fact that we have any black men and black women getting along is a miracle, because we're talking about talking about something that basically started generations ago, and
Mm-hmm.
it has had hundreds of years to infest within our psychic, within our emotional body, within our genetic structure. So it is important that we, as so-called black people, understand one thing. We're talking about a habitual problem, and anytime that we have a habit, that's automatic. we don't
Mm.
we don't have to think about it. It automatically happens, you know and I think that we have to consciously, black people, we have to consciously
Yeah.
make it work. And we make it work. It's almost like starting a so-called diet or starting an exercise routine.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is difficult in the beginning,
Absolutely.
you know. But once you do it and continue to do it, then it becomes habitual. Now, once it reaches the habitual stage, then we have to consciously undo it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
and that is and that is our problem right now, is that we haven't consciously loved one another. And then our opposition, our enemies, then what they do is that they give us the definition of love.
Hmm.
They're the ones that have given us the what I call it, sister Miller, sister Krista, is they have given us a social construct. And what that basically is a mechanism or means to control us.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't, and we haven't realized. I was watching a broadcast earlier, and there was a young lady that was on there, and she was talking about South Africa, the people over in Africa, that they don't realize that the Europeans are their enemies.
Mm.
And the reason being is that the average African is like maybe 33 and under. So they don't even know really what happened. And that is one of the things that is happening to us here in this country, is that our younger people, they have the attitude, hey, slavery didn't happen to me. Ain't nobody enslaved me. So therefore, we don't, I'm talking about our young people, our younger people, they don't feel that there is a necessity
Mm.
to deal with those issues. But I caution them, I caution them that there is a construct that has been put in place to do what? I also saw something on the news that in Florida, they can't even talk about blackness. They can't even talk about, and I'm talking about within the higher educational school system.
Wow.
You know, they call it this critical race theory thing.
Oh, that yes.
You understand? So therefore, they are blocking out so that our younger people don't even that they don't even feel a kinship
Mm.
to the psychological and emotional damage that has been done to us and them, because they say, hey, look, I was listening to Little Wayne. Little Wayne said one time, he said, look, he said, I don't know racism.
I remember that.
And this man is from New Orleans. Is that white people haven't done anything to me? I beg to differ.
Absolutely. I remember that.
Yes, so we have to realize that this is a serious issue that we have, and it's something that we have to consciously focus on in order to get away from it. I'm gonna stop right there. And any question that you may have or input, and we can have a conversation, a dialogue.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, I'll go first, Sister Crystal. So, what you touched on is very important. The Willie Lynch letter. You have to know where it starts. What's the foundation? Where is this all coming from? I appreciate you for bringing that up because I wasn't even really thinking on that level. So, of course, I'm familiar with it. But when
Mhm.
it comes to what we discussed about Black women or Black men at some point dropping the ball,
Right.
causing Black women to, kind of shift away from the masculinity. And if we think about it, it was all by design. And you said something else that was very, very important. The younger generation, they're so far removed from it, and it's because, that's partly because the parents, a lot of the parents in our generation have got yes, yes, yes. So, oh yeah, you're on mute, on mute, and so that's partly because a lot of people in our generation decided, oh, well, we're just going to get along with everybody. We're going to assimilate. We just want you to get a degree and we're not going to worry about this and worry about that. You're just as good as them and this is that. Not really saying the truth. You actually have even more potential. And if we tap into our children at the right time with African-centered education, with a better knowledge of self, then of course that potential grows exponentially. So again, I appreciate that was a very, very valid point. You got to get back to the foundation. Where does it start? And to consciously, right? Not just going along to get along, following assimilation, not doing all that, but to consciously undo it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you speak, Sister Crystal, but I want to say one other thing. I watched a brother's podcast. I am so afraid to mess up his name, but I want to say it's Diallo Kenyatta.
Mhm.
He said something very important. He said that the title of the podcast or the show on his podcast was "Black Love is Not Revolutionary," and I want to say, I'm paraphrasing, but he said it's not revolutionary. Black love is actually evolutionary. It's ever evolving. If you say that Black love is revolutionary, then you're saying that the Black man and Black woman have to constantly fight each other in order to love each other. And if that's not the case, they have to evolve, get back to African love as opposed to this European type of love, which is war-based. We have to get back to our type of love, which is in purpose and in unity, right? In progress for the collective, not just two. So to me, that was very profound. The revolution is that evolutionary, those two evolutionary lovers coming back together and the revolution happening together. We shouldn't fight to love each other. We should fight to continue to keep loving each other.
Right.
Peace, Brother Jess. I see you backstage. I'm coming to you. Sister Crystal, did you want to add anything? That sparked me right there.
Yeah, I knew I had the book on my shelf. And and Bob Omar is right, because there's a whole chapter in here, the breaking process of the African woman. And it speaks to basically empowering her or giving her the psychological mindset that she has to be independent of her man. And we all know that the woman is the first teacher, so she's going to teach her daughters, and the cycle continues and carries on through generations. And so yeah, so thank you, Baba, for bringing that to our attention, because sometimes when we don't understand the past or we don't know how we got here, how the heck can we solve the problem and move forward? So we know
Absolutely.
that it's something that has been indoctrinated into us. So now the process is okay. So you we keep fighting. What do? We can't make progress if we keep doing this and keep talking about what the man needs to do, what the woman needs to do. How do we solve the problem? Well, first of all, you got to figure out how we got here.
Mm-hmm.
Got to, because then you can't. It's like Brother Ty was saying last week. When you go to the doctor, they ask your whole medical history so that they can know what to do, the steps to take. And so we got to know our history too, so that we can know the steps to take to reverse it. So thank you, Bob. And that's why our elders are needed for
Yes.
the wisdom and the experience
Yes.
that sometimes we lack. We might have the smarts, but we don't have the wisdom. That's two different things. And so I think a lot of the youth, they're smart. You got it, but you need
Mhm.
some guidance. You need some direction with those smarts. You need the experience behind that smarts because you're in the world. But let me tell you what might happen, and then you'll be prepared for that. You'll be prepared for
Yeah.
it. So thank you, Bob.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you. Definitely. Wow. And I'm gonna bring Brother Jess up in a few minutes, but we Crystal and I we were watching some clips because sometimes before a show we'll kind of go through different clips and just listening to some of the basically nonsensical rhetoric that goes around from either just let's just be real, bitter women, jaded women, otherwise, who is just always constantly this blame game. And like you said, part of the reason why the youth is so far removed from masculinity or femininity is because they have to hear things like that on a regular basis. And most youth spend most of their time on TikTok, on Instagram, on all these avenues where that type of rhetoric is being spewed. I want to see if we can pull that one up and just play it. We're going to break that down. Then I'm going to bring Brother Jess on the screen in a few.
You gonna share it, Sister Mila?
I don't think I think did it come to you? Let me
Yeah,
see.
I can share it if you want me to.
See if you can, because my volume sometimes just does not cooperate for whatever reason. And again, we
Okay.
don't condone what she's about to say, but we want to share it just as an example of what's out there. Just a second, family. And again, I want to say thank you to all of those who have come in and to those who will watch later. Let's see. It's not working.
That's
So I think something's happening. Okay. It's pausing, Sister Crystal. It's doing something strange.
I can't pull it up, Sister Mila.
So we're not going to worry about it. Basically, I could pretty much tell you what was well, we could kind of go back and forth and tell you what was being said. But there was a sister who was on the let me bring her back in. There was a sister who was on, I think it was TikTok, and that the young man was saying, you know why, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was basically saying, you know why so many black men are not can't find black women, and he says because they're trying to be black. I mean, why so many black men don't choose black women or something like that? And his comment was because too many black women are trying to be black men. So the sister came on and she was basically saying, a lot of what we hear, which is, we have to be this way because black men don't do this. We have to do this way because we have to survive. And there was another who was going on to say that when a black woman is placed in situations where she is uncomfortable, as a survival mechanism, the masculine side of her seems to take over as a way for her to survive. So there was a little bit more said, but that's basically the gist of it. So, what is your take on that, Baba, on the black man's role, I guess, in black women who are perceived to be more masculine?
okay. I think what I want to do is step back a minute. Okay, and that is we have to realize that there has been, as I stated earlier, a strategy to divide us. And I don't think that we can truly understand this divide until we first understand the divide that is happening within us as a black man, and the divide that is happening within us as black women. You know, is that we have been separated with not understanding male, female, and not understanding masculine, feminine. Once we understand that every man and every woman, every male, every female has both within them. We have the masculine and we have the feminine. And until we learn to win the war of not dividing our internal selves, will we ever understand how not to be divided externally. Because if our our masculine gender, our masculine tendency of function is our intellect, the neocortex, our intellect. And the other, our feminine, is our emotional body. And because we haven't yet won that internal war of of masculine and feminine within us, between the intellect and the emotion, until we win that war, it is almost hopeless to win that external thing of male coming together with female. It is almost an impossible task, because we haven't focused on getting that internal, bringing oneness to ourselves, understanding
Mhm.
understanding reasoning, understanding intellect, understanding the emotions, our emotional body, figuring out how to merge those two together. I'll let you speak on that, and we'll go from there. I know,
Ashe.
but I know, Brother Jess is anxious to get on that topic.
I know I got him on pause for a second. I'm coming. I'm just playing, bro. Just I'm coming to you. Cam up, brother. Cam up.
Yeah,
And
camp up.
I know, right? And just I want to get more into that too. How do we balance that? Because being able to balance your masculine and your feminine energy, that definitely contributes to your wellness. It is a woman is unwell if she is demonstrating more of her masculine energy because she's not operating in her own divine feminine nature. That's her divine nature because she was born a woman, a female. She does have the masculine, absolutely, but when she's off balance, again, that leads to depression, sometimes mental illness. I think sometimes I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist rather, but I think part of that could contribute to the bipolar issues. We're off balance. So I'll talk more on that in just a second. But Brother Jess, you have anything you wanted to add to where we are so far, the foundation and balancing those energies? And go ahead and introduce yourself.
Peace, peace.
Peace.
Brother Justice, the thought provoker. I'm definitely want to say, man, I'm proud of Brother Omar. Me and his brother go back and forth many things, and he's on point tonight, man. This is amazing to me. His brother is doing his thing, and all I'm gonna do tonight is definitely be building what his brother is saying and adding on to it, right? And he's definitely on point with the masculine and feminine, and this is not a gender thing that he's saying. And
Right.
please, all right. So we're gonna definitely leave that gender out of it. It's really about the brain itself, dealing with the conscious and the subconscious. If you don't get that right, it's almost impossible to get the gender right. So, as the brother was talking about dealing with the neocortex and dealing with the limbic system or the midbrain, which is the subconscious, right? Dealing with the emotion state and dealing with logic. These two must come together because it's a natural way of life. And what do this mean? Dealing with logic, dealing with emotional. So
Mm.
we all know what's emotional, right? As we steadily use this word, but we go to the etymology of it, it actually came from the Latin, which is energy in motion. So whenever
Mhm.
you make a move, you are being emotional, meaning your energy in motion. That's why most will say control your emotion, meaning control your energy and how you act and how you do things. But the logic part to it should set some type of pathway that way it can govern to make sure you're doing the right thing or it makes sense to do it to go and allow your energy to move. Again, the logic path should set some type of pathway for you to move forward to do things that make sense versus you just emotionally or in your feelings doing things. Then you regret it later because you know there was no logic behind it. That's why those two must marry together. Like I said, totally agree with the brother on saying
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. We're glad you agree. Thanks, Thought Provoker. Oh goodness.
So I have
I'm
a
not gonna
question.
I'm not gonna mess with you tonight, Jess. Go ahead,
I
Sister
have a
Crystal.
So hearing you both explain this, so is it really the masculine energy that we as women are portraying then when we say we have to be masculine? Is that really masculine? Because you say the
Hmm.
masculine is the logic and more so
The
have to be.
the um the fact of the matter is that when we when when we can identify exactly what the masculine energy is, and when we can identify exactly what is the feminine
Hmm.
energy, Sister Mila mentioned earlier, there is a key word: balance.
Mhm.
We have to learn to balance it.
Hmm.
Now, now there are certain, see, again, we have to understand we're dealing with a social construct here, and that
Mhm.
is that our enemies have set up a system that will pull out the masculine in a female, in a woman. Why? Because uh, the masculine energy deals with logic.
Mhm.
It deals with that. And if you are put in a situation where you got to go out in the world and get deeply involved, how many hours a day? 8, 16,
Mhm.
12 hours a day that you are involved in the masculine energy. And
Absolutely.
let me share something with you. Is that this thing here that we call mind, this brain functioning thing, it is so powerful that if a man or woman, the man can think that he is feminine, that he's a female, he can literally with his mind
Mhm.
begin to change his physical properties in the physical body, literally. And the same thing it is with the female. If she think that she is uh masculine male, what's the term you use, lesbian? I don't know the right term to use, but whatever
Yeah.
term is
Hmm.
the right term. If she can conceive within her mind that she is that,
Mhm.
then yes, the physical structure will begin to change.
Mhm.
So now she got two things working against her. She got the actual physical body working against her, and she had the mind working against her. So how can she not display masculine qualities?
Mhm.
How can the male, if all he's doing is sitting home babysitting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, how can he not display feminine qualities? Because what? There is a balance that has been disrupted. That's what we. That's what. That's see. There's a old scriptural saying: "Know yourself." If you don't know you, if you don't know this here, if
Mm-hmm.
you don't know this, those things that are supposed to work in your favor
Yeah,
will work against you. And
absolutely.
and our enemy has institutionalized it.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Wow. I had to pause for a minute. And that's something I was going to say too. What you just touched on is, I guess so, Sister Crystal, because for women, nurturers by nature, how are we really nurturing if we're out in the workforce? If we're having to deal with situations that require logic, making decisions at work, running equipment, whatever it may be, doing things that we would normally have to do if we were in the home, taking care of the home, the children, the family, etc. So I would say for me, and from what you're saying too, because your mind is there, and if your mind is there, your body, your mannerisms are going to follow suit. So you do get a lot of, I have witnessed women who, at one point were very feminine, but through circumstances or
Yeah.
divorce or, we can't say the R word, so we'll say being great. It changes them a lot. And so they do, as a protective mechanism. A lot of women, they, become obese because they don't want to be looked at as attractive. And within that obesity, they start to take on those, those masculine characteristics, and say, if a man didn't protect me, I'll just become one to protect myself.
Mm.
So I think so, Sister Crystal. I think that is what is being displayed.
And
Brother Jess, what's your take
Okay.
on that?
Because I mean, I just
No, you go ahead, Sister Crystal.
now, because I'm just a historian. I'm into our history because I really want to understand how we got here. And so when we speak like that, it just reminds me. I just go back. I go back into time as far as when we were first brought over here and our ancestors were laid physically, and how the process began then. And then, but at the same time, you know, our ancestors and our elders, their femininity. And so I think with the feminist movement and our assimilation among white women, we have uh, began to take on their attributes to be nurturers. They always wanted to be equal to their men. And so I see that happening within our community as well. It's so just bothersome to me because as we were talking about earlier, I refuse to let society shape me and take my femininity away. I don't care what I had to do. I've been a single for 20 years and I still want to be feminine. I still want to walk in my divine feminine nurturing nature. Uh, and so, and that's what's so bothersome to me. I understand fully what Baba said. I do. I understand it. I see it myself. You
Mhm.
we jobs that we deem equal men, and we have lost that balance within ourselves to even think like that, to even think that we could do the same thing men can do and not who we are in the process. So I
That's
do
right.
appreciate that as well, Baba.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna show you the devilishness of your enemy. He called it the feminist movement, but everything that it represents is masculinity.
Everything.
So he's playing with us, and we have to realize this, and we have to realize that, hey, we are habitually, because it has been done. See, I remember as a young man, um, the first thing they came out with was the Virginia Slim, that little thin cigarette. They had what they call it when they, not a lullaby, jingle. they had a jingle. You,
Mm-hmm.
you come a long ways, baby, to get where you got to today.
Mm-hmm.
Making you not want to give it up. Making you
Yeah.
because because now the thing is he has latched you on to a masculine agenda,
Mm-hmm.
but he's calling it femininity. What the what the and Sister Krista, you was correct. Things that happen out in the fields, working in the field, ain't nothing work out in the field, cotton field and bean field and rice field and tobacco field. Ain't nothing feminine about that work. So it is producing masculinity. Why? Because you got to carry that stuff. So now your features become more manly.
Yeah.
We have to realize that hey, that this has been a long work in progress. So to my wonderful black women, know that a trick has been played on you,
Mm-hmm.
and know that you have to uh, consciously
Mm-hmm.
work at being feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, if a person that is a homosexual can learn how to primp and walk around if they can do it, so can you. That's your divine right to know how to flow, so that when you walk, your man can't help but look at you because you got a lot to flow, sister. You ain't got that little skinny. No, I mean, listen, know your power. Other women have stole it.
Mm-hmm.
Know your power and utilize it. And I'm gonna tell you something else. There ain't nothing in your divine femininity, there is nothing that you can want from a man that he won't give you.
I know that's right.
I say, I say, oh,
I'll say to that.
right.
Okay. And that's the truth. I say all the time, my femininity is my superpower. I
That's
don't
your
have to raise
power.
my voice. None of that. I'm not going to do it.
Why
You
let
know
somebody
what?
trick you out of that?
That's
That's your power.
Right.
that's right. That's right. That's right. And we were
Mm.
talking earlier, something we often talk about as well, even moving past, because like I said, we're not blaming black men. The title it says what the title says. But
Mhm.
we're, as Baba broke down, there's a history, it is a foundation of all this, starting with the Willie Lynch letter and the division, and also the internal division, the imbalance within has to be balanced so that we can be correct on the outside, right? Become true and correct in our own nature. So, wow, we often talk about as far as moving past that, we get into being husband and wife. What you said about us having to, to consciously work at changing that. And the thing is, something that I often say is that, when it comes time to be a wife, marriage can't make you a wife. Uttering the words "I'm feminine" doesn't make you feminine. Truly, it's in you. And
Right.
it's in you because you have consciously decided, consciously accepted, I am a woman, I am feminine. You've seen the examples or you've not seen the examples, but you've tied into or tapped into that part of yourself. Um, so that's very powerful. Same thing for a husband. A marriage does not make a husband. It is all in his mind. It is in his mind, and it is the way he moves his body. For a wife, it is in her mind and the way that she moves her body and uses her body, and also her mouth as
Right.
well. Because a woman's mouth is very powerful in her femininity or otherwise. So we have to be very, very careful with that weapon, sisters. It's a weapon.
Yeah.
And and the and
Make a
the,
break.
and the fact of the matter is, we cannot out talk you. Yep. And
Impossible.
that's when he tried to use this.
Mm.
You understand? So
Been
Absolutely.
there, done
yeah. So
that.
yes. So know that is that when we when we reach a point. Well, this is really a talk for men.
Yes.
Men need a man talk. You understand? Because for a man to have to say that she ain't giving me no respect,
Mm.
have your ass earned it?
Mm. Well, amen. Ashe. Okay, I'm listening.
Do you know what it means to be a man? Now I'm old school. My friend Justice tell me all the time. He said, Omar, stuff that you did back then, you know. But I mean,
These
listen.
women ain't trying to do that.
But
And
listen.
you know what's so sad? I'm gonna interject real quickly.
Okay.
Sister Crystal just had a valid point. Now, thankfully, well, I don't want to get too much into my life, but I'm in a good space. Okay, I'll just say that.
Mhm.
Um, Completely balanced in terms of masculinity, femininity in my life is perfect. Okay, because there's understanding there. But what she said is so important, and that's that so many women. As you said, you're old school. I don't even like to say that. You're more traditional.
Mhm.
You took care of the home. I mean, you took care of what you had to take care of outside the home. Wife took care of the home. I consider that to be more traditional. That's not necessarily old school. There are so many women with that traditional mindset, but brothers so often, but again, going back to what you said, are you a man? So
Mhm.
many brothers will overlook those sisters and deal with the drama, deal with the headaches, the I don't understand that. But then I had to think about what you said. Maybe he just hasn't tapped into his full masculinity yet, because a masculine man is not going to seek chaos. He's going to seek his balance, and his balance with what he has to do dealing with logic and war. He wants peace. He's going to seek peace. He's going to seek that traditional woman. So note to you younger sisters, if you're dealing with a man, he won't get on board. He doesn't appreciate you being a feminine woman. He's not the man for you. Don't stress yourself. Don't hang around. It's okay. It just means he has some more coming into his manhood to do. A wise brother, wise God told me, he said, I'm so sick of men talking about black women won't follow. They won't let the black men lead, or black women saying that black men can't lead. All this crazy stuff. But the thing about it is that is something you never hear a masculine man says, because guess what? That masculine man just moves as a man, and that feminine woman naturally follows as a feminine woman. There's balance and order. It's smooth when it is, but when he hasn't reached his potential, you can't expect her to meet you somewhere where you haven't yet gone. So, okay, I rest.
I'm gonna yield to Brother Jess. I really talk in his out of spot and place.
Brother Jess, what you got to add?
No, no, you good, brother Omar. The part where just to build on what Omar was saying about earning, I've heard that type of talk, and I don't think that's a productive mindset to see you have to earn something, because that could also say you have female say, well, he can't handle me, so now you gotta be able to handle somebody, and you have to be able to be in a position to earn something. So that means if you're not able to earn it, that means you don't have it no more. I don't think that's you should have to work for something that if y'all both want it together. So when you come together, like I definitely agree. Since Camila was saying that the guy, he has to know himself as a male, and of course the female got to know herself as a female, and they actually practice with themselves first what they want from somebody else. Again, practice with themselves first what they want from someone else. You can't expect a person to be something for you and you're not that for your own self. That don't make any sense. So when people talk about, again, I'm just building on Brother Omar, not going against him, but I've heard other people say this about earning something. Now, Do she do that for her own self? Why he got to do it? Is she able to take? Is she able to pay her own light bill? Is she able to guide her own self? Because remember now, she don't start off in a relationship. She start off single. She don't start off in a relationship. She start off single. Now, as a single woman or as a single man, are they able to guide their own self in a path that is constructive to their self? Because you can't expect somebody to come in and do that when, well, first of all, you wouldn't even know if it's a good guidance because you never took the time to know how to guide yourself right. You wouldn't even know to say, well, maybe this person got you wrong because you don't even know. So I don't think people need to earn respect, but I think people need to see and be able to reverence respect for themselves to know what it is to be able to be respected when someone come around you and I know like, okay, you the piece that fit in this puzzle. Now they don't have to earn my respect because they fit in this piece in the puzzle. There's no reason to earn it. I'm just going to automatically going to be given for both of us because we actually putting that puzzle together. But if I have to earn something and try to maintain something and keep up with something, one day they can't do it. Then what? You go to that person that could do it or you feel could do it? When if I'm not just that one for you, guess what? You walk away and find another person. I shouldn't have to fight to try to figure this out or stress myself out to be this role that you're looking for. Go find that role that you need and let me find a role that for me. That's how I look at that. All right.
And I just want to add to what Brother Jess just said. So, Brother Jess, I think the assumption was that, of course, you know, the woman is already there. So just saying that as far as him being in his masculinity, is he the type of man who is ready to take on the responsibility of what he's asking for? So I think what you're speaking on is more or less once they've made a decision to be together. Well, are you my balance? Have you also done this? But I think for Brother Omar, if I'm correct, that's what he was saying. Like, as a man, are you there? Are you at the point where you're ready to take on that responsibility? Because manhood, I'm not a man, I'm just speaking on observations and things that I've seen, but manhood seems to be one that is high on the level of responsibility. So if you're saying that, hold on, Brother Jess. So if you're saying that as a man, I know that I'm going to have all this responsibility. Have I built myself as a man to be able to take this responsibility? So she may say, because something that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, that your woman is going to test you, right? So in her testing you, a part of that is, you know, you have to earn her in the sense. And it's not to tie into saying someone has more or less value. Just, are you operating in manhood the way that you should be in order to take on the responsibility that comes with everything after that, more or less? But what you're saying isn't wrong. I'm not debating it. I'm just adding to it.
The thing, Brother Jess is accurate. I mean, we are all single before we get involved in a relationship, you know, and I do agree that both parties have a part to play because what we have to look at is this, is that a man have to ask himself a question, and that is, do I got me together? And a woman have to ask herself the question, do I have me together? And they have and they both have to realize that they are entering into, if they get involved with another party, they are entering into a contractual agreement. Now, what is that contractual agreement? Is that both parties, number one, have to know themselves. They have to know what it is that I'm looking for in a wife. What is it that I'm looking for in a husband? You can't know that unless you know you.
Come on.
Amen.
You know, so
Absolutely.
once they know this, take that responsibility on themselves, then they can say there's a term that's utilized in the higher financial black community, power couple.
Mm.
See, you have to realize whether or not you want to become a power couple, and then you have to sit down and figure out what does it take to become a power couple. And I'm not just talking about a financial power couple.
Mhm.
I'm talking about a power couple that knows the responsibility of having children, the responsibility of owning a house,
Mhm.
the responsibility of owning a car. Are you going out there and you're spending half of a mortgage on a car and you don't own a house yet?
Hmm.
That's not financial
Hmm.
maturity.
Absolutely.
That is so true.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jess.
Yeah. So I mean, I appreciate what you said because you kind of cleared up everything what I was already. So I
Uh,
definitely
Mhm.
appreciate that, and that's why I say we all start off single, and being single, we have to first get to know ourselves because when you get into a relationship, that's not the responsibility of that person to teach you how to be a woman. That's not the responsibility of that person to teach you how to be a man. You must already come with one mind, not two minds, one mind. Especially when you get married, I'm talking about more than anything. So when you get married, there's no single mindedness in that, if that's even a word. There's no single mindedness in that. You're not single anymore. You don't. It's not about how you feel. It's about how we feel. All that
Mhm.
stuff goes out the window. But how you thought, how you used to think. Oh well, I always did it. Yeah, when you were single, you did it like that.
Very
Now you're
true.
not that anymore.
Right.
So that's why it's good
Right.
to get, like Omar said, have your own apartment, or if you end up owning a house when you're single, knows how to pay a light bill, knows how to pay a water bill, knows how to open up some envelopes and see some bills, and how I feel probably sometimes not even know how to pay the bill, so you don't get yourself in that
Mhm.
position anymore. So these
Mhm.
things are good to actually go through in life, so that way you could be more prepared to be with that person versus
Mhm.
depending on that person. All right.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
okay.
And
So,
you know, it's me of what Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught about the three sciences that we were purposely not taught: uh, war, business, and mating. And so we don't even know how to mate. We look at somebody else's dysfunction as the standard. And so what
Yeah.
Jess and Bob are saying is so profound and so correct, because my sister and I were talking about this the other day because we're both divorced, and we were talking about even that process was is shallow. We don't even get into the depth of the matters. We don't talk about finances until here. That you don't even understand the process of what it takes to become one from two. And so, that's why it's so important that we had these conversations and we had these bills and we start creating some type of formalized education so that we can be better. Because it's not just going to happen. And I think a lot of times we think that when we say these things, okay, we got to get right within. That is not just going to happen. It's going to have to be
Yes.
something institutionalized, something taught, some type of process that we all go through so that we can be better and not go backwards. Like I feel like it's happening to a large degree. I rest.
Ashe.
it, the the thing is this here is unfortunately uh, we are over sexualized. What do I mean by that? We can't get to know each other because the first thing that we're doing is jumping in bed. Sisters, once he got the milk, he don't need the cow.
Mhm.
Your leverage is your body.
Yes.
Don't play your leverage short.
That's right.
You ain't get look. If you give yourself away too soon, the man think that you'll give yourself away to somebody else the same way.
Mm.
Absolutely.
So,
And,
so
And then I read today because I'm reading this book, Misery Loves Company, and he spoke to our when we have these dysfunctions within our relationships, we don't try to get to the root of it. We just sex it away. Okay, so we don't even deal with the issues. We just feel like, okay, now that we've had sex, everything is okay. And you go back and then those issues come up again because they're never dealt with. You just use sex as a Medicaid or or band-aid on the bullet wound per se. And so
Mhm.
you're right, Bob, but and especially in this society today, everything is sexualized. And
so
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 that's
speak
all we
on the
think about.
eh,
Go ahead,
speak
Jess.
on the opposite end too, Baba. Don't just speak just the woman holding something. Speak
I
on what
have
the man do need to give up as well.
okay. Unfortunately, in our society, the weight is on the woman. Unfortunately, because we see them as prey.
Mhm.
We go out. Hey, the only thing that's on the man's mind, he ain't looking for a wife. He's looking for sex. And if he can get it on the first date, he's a happy camper.
Okay, so
And
I
hold on, I'm not finished. I'm gonna I am definitely coming to what you're thinking. But I believe, as they was talking about Elijah Muhammad,
Mhm.
he said that heaven lies at the feet of a woman.
Ashay.
If the woman don't know how to say lad no, then what man is gonna take it up on himself and say, sister, listen, I really think we shouldn't have sex, you know, because we need to get to know each other. Show me the men that does that. He will take whatever he can get because we have been conditioned and trained to do that, and so badly that if a woman if a woman see a man talking that way, she gonna look at him and say, "What's wrong with this joker?"
May I interject real briefly? You muted, Sis Crystal. Let me get it.
but can I speak on
Wait,
that part that
Jess, wait. Let me interject quickly. Baba, you are 100. If there was 1,000%, you are 1,000% correct. If a man tells you that, he's probably dealing with impotency and trying to trick you into marriage or something. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Let's continue.
But okay, so I do know I have a couple cousins, and they are serious about who they sleep, lie down with. And so, and I've heard women say this, that if a man is of a certain age and he doesn't have children, something is wrong with him. And so, but there are men out there, because my aunt taught my cousin, you don't just put your seed anywhere. And
Right.
so he is very careful and very cautious and very selective about who he gives his time, money, and energy to. And so there are a few of them out there, and people do think there's something wrong. What's wrong with him? Yeah. But he has just been taught by his mother to be careful. And so I rest.
Go ahead,
so
Jess. I cut you off. Go
yeah,
ahead, bro.
yeah, like I was asking my brother, speak on the other end
That's
because
okay.
there's no such thing as a one-way street. They do not exist. So this just an average number I'm gonna throw it there for both parties.
Mhm.
Normally 18, late 20s, she's in her prime. Most of the time, she ain't trying to be in a relationship, especially the early 18s, because she uses the word "I'm too young. I'm trying to enjoy my life." Back in the days, they got married that young, but
Mhm.
in the modern times, no. I'm just enjoying my life, blah 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 blah. Now, when the guy hits 30s, maybe 40s. He's at his peak prime where he's making the bucks he need to make. Oh, well, you need to enjoy life. Just be with this one person. Oh, but when you was 18, 19, you give a crap about that. So now when this guy's in his peak, he need to be careful who he deal with.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't, trust me, they coming after him because they can smell it. So again, it's no different on the other opposite sex because they can see where he's driving something nice, well
Mm-hmm.
dressed, well
Mm-hmm.
minded because he went through all the BS through life, so he understands life a whole lot better. He know how to speak, how to think right, proper conversation, eating at the probably finest places to eat. So they
Mm-hmm.
see what's going on and they want a future for them and the kids they would like to bear with him. So he himself got to protect himself and his mental, with his financial and his emotional state. He has to be very careful who he lay with. Like Sister Crystal said, they're teaching those boys how to deal and cipher through those women to not to lay their seed on bad ground because they would turn them to be terrible. So yes, Brother Omar, it's a side to the men where they have to protect themselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not all men. Now you may be talking about the younger man, but those who are more age ain't trying to go where any legs are open up because they know what comes with that. They
Yeah.
not doing it. I'm gonna rest there.
Yeah. I definitely stress
Yeah,
that to
and
my
you're right,
son.
Jessica.
Absolutely.
Right, I have a son too. And you hit home when you said that because we have sons. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The- it really goes back to, what we were talking about earlier, and that is learning to deal with this you,
Yeah.
because because the same masculine and feminine qualities are in both parties, and if
Mm-hmm.
and if both parties master the masculine and feminine qualities within themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they will have no problem dealing with the opposite person. They would. It's just I can't conceive that being an issue. It is only because we have been so destroyed as a people, so destroyed that we just don't know how to deal with being a man, being a woman, being a husband, being a father, we, being a provider, being a nurturer. We just don't know because we haven't done dealt with those qualities within us. Because if we know how to deal with within us, a man, I don't have a problem being masculine because I know that uh, that my masculinity is not totally reliant on my maleness,
Mm-hmm.
and the female understand that her femininity is not totally reliant on her femaleness. Two, two different things. And once we can understand that, then we can deal with, hey, what do we have to do now in terms of how do I be a husband? How do I be a father? How do I be a mother? How do I be a wife? Because I understand how I dealt with my masculine within me.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman understands how she dealt with the feminine within her. Once we understand, it's really vice versa. But once
Mm-hmm.
once we understand that, then we can say, okay, I know that me being a husband and a father
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that I got to be all masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to be a mother and a wife doesn't mean that I have to be all feminine. No, because I
Ooh, so true.
because I have negotiated with those qualities within me. So therefore, I understand how to support the masculinity in my husband, and I want that Joker to know, hey, he's got to be nurturing as well, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Once we understand that, and I'm gonna tell you something, people will think that is show a whole lot to do. Isn't it worth it?
Mm-mm.
Isn't it worth to pay the price?
You, Robert?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you just reminded me of, in our culture we have rites of passage, and those were some of the things that were taught during those sessions, those rites of passage sessions, and it just makes me think and inspires me that we need to get back to that. Sankofa, go back and fetch it. Some things we need to go back and fetch, and rites of
Mm-hmm.
passage is one of them that I'm thinking about as you say that. So yeah, you have really dropped some jewels tonight, and it has really made me think about my role and our divine assignment is to
Absolutely.
re-Africanize us and get us back to where we have to be. So Asante Sana for your wisdom tonight.
Ashe. Ashe.
I thank you.
And,
Powerful.
yeah, I want to add to that too. What Brother Omar was saying, which is definitely on point. And sometimes we could hear things like that what Brother Omar say, and we try our very best to actually follow through with it. And sometimes we gotta be careful because that may not be made for us. When I say that is that if you see that a situation is not working out, we don't say, well, let's try to be the best man they could be or the best woman they could be. Sometimes you may have to use your number one, most powerful, faithful weapon is to walk away. And when I mean walk away, is that if that man walks away or that woman walks away, if that person is truly for you, they'll figure it out. If they not for you, then you just don't have to worry about the hell on earth.
Well, once you know you, then
Brother,
you.
Exactly. I was gonna.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and brother, just I literally told my youngest daughter that today. Literally told her that today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Once you know you, then you know what's your perfect match, or as close to perfect as you can get. You know it because you know you. You know, like, look, I know that. Look, I don't smoke,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not gonna kiss no ashtray.
You better say that.
I don't drink, so I don't. So I'm not going to be interested in someone that does that.
Come on now. Once you know you.
Right. So therefore you could eliminate a whole lot of problems by,
Mm-hmm.
by knowing you, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing what it is that you are willing to accept. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore you can look at an individual and say, hey, do I think that this individual is worth it?
Hmm.
Because I'm gonna tell you something, it is hell to be in a bad relationship.
Come on.
Hell. I don't care, and I don't care what it looks like. I sit down and I watched, which is something I normally don't do, the Atlanta Housewives. That listen, they're not. I mean, they they
Oh
are
no.
they are made up. I'm talking about physically, they are made up, but they act like a hood rat, fighting all over the place. Can't do
And that's what
business.
our people, that's what a lot of women are aspiring to act like, especially our younger generation. You
You,
know,
you you're breaking up, sister.
She in the Matrix.
or
She
nation
and what she's
just
saying, you're
Uh-huh.
breaking up, Sis Crystal, but I know what you're
from
saying, and
them.
that's The sad thing is that's what our younger generation, that's what they ascribe to be.
Right.
They're watching these housewives and they're thinking that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to disrespect my man. I'm supposed to cause drama. I'm supposed to be toxic. You know, I even I don't know who it was, something I saw online at some point where the girl was like, you know, these men, they don't like it when you are feminine. They want you to be fight. They want you to argue. And another girl said, Ari Don, whatever, she said she likes when her man chokes her. That lets her know he means it or something. I was like, wait, what? Like, you want a man to physically harm you, to choke you, to let you know, to, because then you'll know he cares? No, pull a weapon on her.
Wow.
Something like that. It was like, that's when I know he cares. So what you're saying is, in order for a man to be a man in your mind, because of, like Sister Crystal said, what you see on these shows, you got to push him to the limit. I don't think that's what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when he said you have to test your man. That what he's saying is you got to watch his behavior, watch the way he moves, watch the way he organizes things, give him a task and see if he's going to keep his word, etc. Things like that. He's not saying test that man to the point where he breaks and hurts you, right? So wow. Go ahead.
I definitely
And Brother Omar.
Oh.
Go ahead, Sister Crystal.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We hear you.
No, I was just gonna say, it just adds to what Brother Omar spoke of earlier, that the machine that keeps, you know, redefining and recreating things. So now they need the drama, so they keep putting that out there as the standard of how we're supposed to behave. They ain't gonna put a wholesome family. The Cosby Show ain't, those days over with. You know, those days are going until
now.
we take control and have control of the media. You know, they're gonna keep putting this nonsense and foolishness and drama, because we have become a drama addicted society. And so, you know, even in the relationship, so that's where everything is coming from. But yeah, Bob, it just goes back to your point you made earlier. You know, it's entertainment we're watching and listening to. And I'm done for the night, y'all.
And I see my brother Moonga on. I just want to say, y'all help me send another congratulations. The brother just got married this past weekend. So congratulations, Black man and Black woman doing the right Black thing. That's Black power. Yeah. Building for real, making it happen. So beautiful. Wow. Beautiful bride. So the wedding was beautiful from what I can see. So congratulations to you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Baba, thank you. Sincerely, you truly gave us some wisdom tonight. And like I said, family, this is not bashing. The title is just a title. This is YouTube, right? We're just gonna worry about that. I gotta take your words, Sister Crystal. I'm so full right now because this really put a lot on my mind, and it's gonna make me more effective in what it is that I try to do with my own daughters, with younger sisters. So thank you for that. It's gonna make me more effective as a wife. Because yes, it's coming. Don't worry about all that. Don't worry about all that, y'all. Just it's coming. Okay? Okay. Anyway. No, but seriously, family, I want to say this. You said something, and thank you, Brother Jess. You definitely contributed a lot tonight. Thank you for staying awake. I love you for it. Thank you. All right. So let me say this, family. Seriously. One of the, for me, major takeaways was definitely knowing the foundation, knowing who we are, because you have to know yourself. If you don't know yourself, you will not be able to attract what you need. You'll attract a representative, an image of whatever you're putting out there in this world. If you don't know yourself, then it does not positively contribute to your overall health and wellness. Again, a woman who is operating more, she has to have both, definitely, because a man doesn't want a woman with no logic. A man doesn't want a woman that when he falls down or he gets off track, or say he left a certain situation and he decides, I'm going to go back to it. She says, that's not what you said, baby. That's not what you're about. This is our plan. This is our path. She needs to be able to be strong enough to pull him back on, powerful enough to pull him back on track. Same thing for him. That brother has a responsibility to emotionally and mentally protect and be the man in her life. You know, he has to sometimes be that soft spot for his woman, because again, he doesn't want her going anywhere else to get it. So you're right. We definitely have to have that balance, and being balanced, family, being balanced positively contributes to your overall health and wellness. When a woman is allowed to be a woman, and I say allowed because, again, when we are put in situations where we are uncomfortable and where we feel unsafe and unsecure, the masculine side begins to take over. And none of us want that. Because, again, we're not well, brothers. When a woman has to behave in that way, she doesn't want to. Trust me, she's going in that bathroom crying at night. She's getting away from you. She's getting in her car. She's crying because she doesn't want that. She wants to be soft. She desires to be soft. I personally have been in a situation, and Baba, you know, where I dealt with somebody who was a little soft, and it caused me to be a little harder, you know, and I can admit that looking back and see it like, wow, I was uncomfortable. You know, I wasn't in a space where I felt safe and secure. So I had to do that, right? Doesn't mean I'm not going to be a feminine woman because it's who I am. I am balanced in that regard. And because of that, I am well. So sisters, my takeaway or my urging to you all is to remain balanced. Seek your balance, but first find yourself. And Sister Crystal is going to share a book later that speaks to this. Finding yourself so that you can find the person that you should be with, okay? Because if you're in your space, it's going to naturally happen. Trust me. It'll be so natural, you'll just be like, how did this happen? What Deborah Cox say, how did you get here? Like that, okay? All right, I yield. Brother Jess, you wanted to say anything?
Yeah, definitely enjoy this show, and you know, appreciate you, Sister Mia, Sister Crystal. I know she left, probably coming back. Brother Omar definitely dropped some wisdom there, and you know, everyone. Sister Crystal dropped wisdom. Sister Mila, Brother Jazz dropped wisdom. You know, the thought, you know, it's all about those thoughts, man. Get it right. So, you know, I definitely appreciate this. We know we gotta keep coming together and doing things like this.
Ashe.
Thank
Sister
you.
Crystal is excited. I see it in her face. I see it in her face. I see the excitement, sis.
Well, it was just such a beautiful, yes, because I just didn't know, you know, I knew Baba was gonna bring the wisdom and the knowledge and the balance to, you know, what it is that we want to talk about, because like you said, it's not a gender war show. This is a bill. This is to make us better and to understand how we got here. And so, you know, I am full because it made me really think about myself and how, like you said earlier, Mila, how we can teach and guide the next generation. Because I work with young adults in, you know, in my profession, and then I work with the children in the community. And so it just left me full and left me thinking about some things that we can do practically to yield what we need. You know, I do have the resource, but you have it too. You have the book as well. And yes, I got little holes in mine because Kenzie had a little fun with my book.
I got a bunch of highlighting and writing in mine. Listen, I'm gonna let you talk about it because she is the frontline librarian, but I'm gonna bring it a little closer so y'all can see.
No, I didn't ask you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
So the book is Complementarity Thoughts for African Warrior Couples. And I read this book about 3-4 times. It's by Baba Burundi, Umawala Burundi, who actually gave me that name, Frontline Librarian. Mm-hmm. And so when I read it the first time, you know, I was just reading it to be reading it. But then when I read it the second time, I was like, okay, so really it's telling me that if I focus on doing the work, that I'm going to attract the energy that's going to be who I need, right? And it's basically kind of just repeating what Baba Omar has said. You find yourself, you find that balance within yourself, and then that right energy and balance is going to come along and be your complement. You know, he uses that word complement so much and so well defined. So, Mila, you can go on and take it from here.
Okay.
As the rest is concerned.
Absolutely. So we get excited about this book. We both read it a few times, and I just want to say it is true to life. And also, I wanted to let you all know that coming up on February the 16th, we're going to have Baba Baruti and hopefully Mama Inya as well to come on, and we're going to do a book review and talk about it. But so I'm excited about that. Again, that's coming up February 16th at 6 p.m. I'll be sharing that link soon and throughout the weeks. But again, pretty much what Baba Omar just shared with us is there's so much more here, but that's it. You got to know yourself and you got to balance yourself within, because you got to learn how to use both within a relationship. You have to. You can't just be one or the other. You really can't. So to answer that question, when there are masculine Black women, what role does the Black man play? He doesn't play a role at all. And I'm going to tell you why. I know we say, well, at some point he did some things to drop the ball. But as Sister Crystal said, if she's been single for years and she's not masculine, it's called accountability, sisters, brothers. It's called accountability and knowing yourself. No more blaming. No more he did this, she did this. Everybody's going to do something. But who are you? What are you? Why are you? Where are you going? What is your purpose? When you know that, you will do things decently and in order, and you will attract what is for you. Why? One more time, because you will know you. Okay. Does anybody have any closing remarks before we end this was wonderful. I just want to say that.
I just want to thank you, for having me.
Oh yeah.
I attempted to share 40 years of experience. I was very fortunate, to have been married for 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to just share a little bit. I mean, there is so much, but understand that there is work to be done. It is not an easy process. You got to work at it. I'm talking to men and women. You've got to work at being the best you that you can be. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to share this with you as well. You know, we have been taught to be selfless in this society. A trick. The first law of nature is self-preservation. You have to have a degree of selfishness.
Mm,
People that don't want you to be selfish want you to be selfish so they can use you.
that's right. That's right.
Again, Sister Mila brought it up earlier. You have to be balanced with it.
Mm,
But it's okay to be selfish. Take care of you.
mm-hmm.
Because in taking care of you, you're going to learn how to take care of others.
Ashe.
Thank you kindly.
Oh, thank you. Kindly, humbly, thank you. You blessed us all. Truly. Brother Jess, you did a great job tonight too. And you look at me peeping around the corner. You stayed awake. Jess.
He probably
Love you, bro.
Yeah, I'm here.
Love you, bro. You did that. I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody else is on the panel. Some great stuff tonight.
You definitely added a lot, Jess, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you. I appreciate everyone. And I truly hope that absolutely we must be selfish as a community. That's true. That's true. That's something we have to learn. And being used and useless and that topic, something we may get you back on, Baba, to discuss at another time. Something that I always say, if a relationship is a build, you are building in a relationship. And if you are a person who is afraid to bring your tools to the table to be used, then you're useless. You should not be in the relationship building game. So we may get you back on to talk more about and build on that. But again, I just want to thank the panel. Thank you all for watching now. Thank you, Sister Crystal, for hanging in there with me until we get to do what we got coming soon. Listen, family, I just hope that you got something out of it. Thanks to those who, again, will watch the replay. And as always, be well in mind, body, and spirit. It is a continuum. Consciously practice your wellness and your balance. There are many ways to do that. And remember, if you remember nothing else, family, Black women are leading in clinical obesity. Black women are leading in clinical obesity. Black women are leading in clinical obesity. Okay? Y'all know I was going to say that, and I know y'all was waiting for nothing that's coming too. Listen, we got to fix that, sisters. It is not a joke. It is not a joke. You cannot win any type of war when you're losing one of the primary 9 battles. We have to do better in this regard, sisters. It's not a joke. That's coming from a space of deep love, never hate, and listen, it's coming. If you remember nothing else, nothing, absolutely nothing tastes as good as being healthy feels. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Peace.